that didn't fit the standard that I had set. But you know what happened through that turmoil? I had 2 or 3 people that believed in the mission. The Ultimate OD Podcast, we have an amazing episode for you today. I'm channeling my inner Bobby Axelrod to show billions. We're going to teach you to break the stick. What does that mean? You need to find out. We have a little office talk. Did I make the right decision? The wrong decision? How should I feel? Your comments are welcome. We have a closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast, thank you for tuning in. I love that you're watching, subscribing, listening. Please keep the comments coming. We are growing, and I love it. Basically, one of the things why I started this is I love to talk. I love to talk optometry, yes, but I also want to get better. And by having the conversations I have with you, knowing what everyone else is doing out there, the dreams that you guys are chasing, it makes me be better. I don't want to be the low man on the totem pole. I don't want to be the weakest link. I want to be better because you guys are being better. So let's keep collaborating. Our first Ultimate OD Mastermind group is getting formed, started. Got 5 to 7 people. We're going to be meeting and starting it off in June. We got to get a little bit of the details figured out, but it's going to be awesome. I will share with you what we're doing, how it's growing, and then from here we're going to springboard going forward. Now, that being said, let's get to the meat of what we're talking about today, and that's being better. If you look at the title of this, it's not the most searchable. It's a little different, but it's called Break the Stick, You Should Have Done More. Okay? Interesting, right? You break the stick, you should have done more. Let me tell you about one of my favorite shows, Billions. I love Billions. I love Bobby Axelrod. I love the conflict between Paul Giamatti, like Chuck Rhodes, and Axelrod. It's all good stuff. Okay? Well, again, I get it's fictional, highly dramatized, but it entertains me. I do pull nuggets from it. And one of the nuggets I pulled was a following anecdote. So, Wendy Rhodes, is Chuck's wife, was meeting with this bigwig guy, Jack Foley. And Wendy right now is going through a lot of struggle, has a lot of conflict. Jail time. Do I double cross him? Do I do this? Just conflict, right? Jack Foley is master manipulator. He's always got his hand on what's going on, dictating the politics in his little neck of the woods. Well, they're meeting. He's vetting her because he wants Chuck to run for governor. And Wendy asks him, when you have a very difficult decision and there's no right answers, what do you do? And Jack, the savant that he is, says this little analogy. And he goes, there was a student and a teacher. And the teacher said to the student, I have the stick. Is it real? If you tell me it's not real, I'll hit you with it and show you that it is. If you tell me that it is real, I'll hit you with it and you'll know that it's real. And if you don't say anything, I'll hit you with it. Right? Wendy asked, well, what did the student do? He said he walked over to the teacher, grabbed the stick, and he broke that stinking stick. Okay? Now I'm watching this, and I was really intrigued because I'm like, I've been in numerous situations where it doesn't seem like there's a right answer, where it's very hard, you want to curl up in a ball and just have it all go away. And I'm like, is that something that would motivate me? Is that something that would give me wisdom? And I, watching with my wife, we started talking, and she's like, oh, I really liked it. I'm like, why? And she just said, it just, it seems like a good thing. You break the stick. And I'm like, all right. So I slept on it, thought about it, did a lot of processing. When I'm, billions mode, I will think about it till the end of time. No. But I woke up the next morning and I'm like, what, I do actually kind of like that. And break the stick has been a mantra I've been saying in my head. And what do I mean by that? When you have a difficult situation, when you have someone you're going to get run over one way or the other, what do you need to do? And I think that the thing I took away from it is you got to take action, right? You have to do something. Don't sit there and let someone else dictate what's going to happen to you. Take control of whatever you can control. And in this situation, it's breaking the stick, right? It's not easy. It's not what they would say is by the book, if you will. Students should respect their teachers, etc. But you break the stick, so you're not going to get hit with the stick. So, and this is when I'm watching that episode. It's around the time I looked at my last 10, 12 years, and I said, if there's one thing I regret, it's that I didn't do more. Right? I wish I would have worked hard. I would have went after it. And talking to one of my friends about that, I said, 10 years from now, when I look back, I bet you I'm going to say I wish I would have done more again. Right? So I have this break the stick mantra. I have this perspective now that I wish I would have went harder. I would have done more where I could have been. The risk that you think you're taking isn't necessarily that risk. It's the move you had to make at the time, and you make the best of it. You make it go, and you make yourself better. Okay, look at the next episode. I know we linking to a future episode here, but I want to be talking about the characteristics I see in successful entrepreneurs, successful ODs, successful business owners, and all the people I've talked about and talked to through this magical form of the Ultimate OD. And one of them is they go after what they want. They're not afraid to break the mold. So I outlined this, and I know I went down this weird road of a Billions reference to break the stick. But I'm going to give you 2 times in my life where it was tough. There was no right answers. I wanted to curl up on a ball. I wanted to be done, just have it go away. Or I felt like I wasn't in the right state of mind to do what I needed to do. I needed help. I wasn't capable. Right? Imposter syndrome. And how at the time I didn't know the mantra of break the stick, but it's kind of what I did. You take control, you take action, and you move forward. So first time, I started my first office in 2011. I started a second office about 3 years later, 2015. And that year, I started a second office, and I hired a bunch of staff. It was not my best time of being organized. I wasn't the leader I am today, and just hired a bunch of staff. I literally had about 10 to 12 staff, but half of them, probably more, 3/4 were part-time. So I was just putting together pieces of the puzzle, trying to make a full schedule. I was only one doctor. I didn't hire a doctor. So it was half in one office, half in the other. And at a certain point in that time, I had, less than a year in, I had it where 3 consecutive Thursdays, I had a staff member quit. And no, not mature enough to come in and say, hey, it's not working out, I'll give my 2 weeks. Literally left their key, maybe let her know, and just took off. I had another employee, good employee, but not necessarily on the team. We didn't have the good following I wanted. And she was like, hey, you might want to come over here. Someone left and they left a note. Yeah, what's the note? I really think you should come over here. So I had to go to the other office, figure it out. And at that time, I'm like, I have 2 offices. I'm trying to learn and manage that. I have patients from both offices, and I have this whole plethora of staff that don't know what they're doing. All right? Now, for a night or 2, I probably threw myself a little pity party. Like, oh, man, they just don't get it. Why can't I have better staff? Why is this so hard? What was I thinking? All those things you go through. And at that point, if the stick was real, I'm getting beat with it. Stick's not real, I'm getting beat with it. If I don't do anything, I'm going to get beat with that stick. So what did I do? All right. At that time, I'm like, forget it. We're having an office meeting. We're getting everyone in here. And I basically got the whole staff. I told them, bring your notebook. This is going to be a long meeting. And we had about a 2-hour meeting where I kind of laid out the ground rules. This is my expectation for you here as a staff, and these are the skills you need to know. We're going to go through them. I'm going to give you time to learn them, but I expect you to know them. And through that time, when I set the standard, you know what? I didn't keep everyone. I can think of 2 people that one left on their own accord, the other I had to let go, that didn't fit the standard that I had set. But you know what happened through that turmoil? I had 2 or 3 people that believed in the mission. They believed in what I set forth, and they wanted to be better. They saw it as an opportunity for themselves to have a higher role. And one of those staff members was one of my best employees ever, if not the best. And she became my office manager for like 6-7 years. She learned, she grew, she set the trajectory for where we're at now, right? And all that time, through that hardship, through that pain, I had probably a run of my best staff ever. The most successful we were, the most organized, the most talented. Then COVID hit and we had to start over and do it again. But I had done it before. I knew what to do and I took that action. So again, this is not a step-by-step thing of what you need to do for a situation like we've done in the past. But what I'm telling you is there's going to be times when you don't know what to do. The world is falling in on you. And I'll tell you this, dig in, take action, and break the stick. Do as much as you possibly can to get to where you need to be. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have vision. Now, that's an extreme one of, I'm swimming, I'm not capable, what next? This next one happened maybe 7 months ago. All right. I've had a successful office the past 2 years, even with COVID, did over $1 million revenue. Okay. Not saying that to be braggadocious, but doing very well for myself. And I sat down, looked at my books, looked at the, schedule, looked at everything, just did a complete evaluation of the office. And I feel like I wasn't running a good business. Like I was doing fine. I was getting through, great wage, but that's average. That's not ultimate OD status, right? That's not what we want to do when we're on this podcast, when we're talking to each other. I needed to be better. Read a couple books, started getting into it. The Pumpkin Plan and Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Recommend those. But I said, you know what? I need to be more profitable. I need to move up my revenue per patient. I need to add a specialty. I need to be better, right? Now, it's a very broad and bold statement, but I had this burning pit in my stomach that I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I needed to do more. I keep thinking like, hey, you're talented, you have the ability, it's going well. What is the next level? And I believe in myself to do that, but I wasn't doing anything for it. So like I said, I broke it all down. I applied the principles of the books I read. I talked to everyone, okay? To successful other business owners. I talked to you guys. You guys gave me ideas. We collaborated. I talked to other friends of mine that are entrepreneurs. You never want to be the most talented person in the room. I put myself in a room where I definitely wasn't. And I asked them how they got to where they are, what they did. I asked my professionals that I lean on, my CPA, my reps, lawyer, name it. I'm like, I need to be better. Where are my weak points? And I just started dialing it in. I looked at my optical. I looked at all those things. And I completely revamped everything I was doing. Different set of priorities, different set of spending, different budgetary needs, and reined it in. I'm having the best year I've ever had. Okay? Now, again, I could have just sat back, been like, you know what? I get beat with a stick here. I get hit here. But I'm doing fine. I don't know what else I need to do. I have a successful practice. I hit that mark, that fictional top of the mountain, if you will, which isn't even close. And I said I need to do more. I looked at my last 10 years and said I wish I would have taken a few more chances. Now I'm still young. I still have a lot of runway ahead of me. But that's going to get shorter. And if I don't start making moves now, I'm never going to do it. So break the stick. Right? I know I keep beating this analogy into our heads. Right? Funny, right? Break the stick, beat the head. You got me. That being said, if you take anything from this, it's that idea that you are in control. That if you don't like how something is, if you don't like the outcome or the situation, change it. Period. Right? You can do anything you want. It might not be easy. It might not be smooth, but go after it. Don't sit there and wait for things to come to you. Take initiative. Be in charge. That's what I have for you. We'll have more for you next week. All right, my friends, a little office talk. Now, if you look at the rundown, I gave a little bit of office talk, talked about, two of my past experiences, but I was applying those to the principle I was giving. Now, I'm talking to you about just what I'm trying to do. I don't have the space I need right now, But I know within the next year, I'm going to grow. I'm going to have a bigger office. I'm going to hire another doctor. This is going to happen. I believe it. I think it. I dwell on it, right? It's going to happen. I'm bringing it into existence, but I'm also taking initiative. One of those initiatives is talking to as many young, new doctors as I can. I need to hire an associate. I need to figure out what the market is, who I can, bring on, who fits my culture, right? Culture. So I had a student shadow me, and I'm a huge dry eye practice. We are a dry eye clinic. That's the foundation of what we do. Whoever I hire needs to embrace this, right? Whether or not they bring on another specialty, they have their own thing. If they don't embrace the fact that we are a dry eye office, it will not work, okay? So I met a doctor, and she said that she's very interested in dry eye. I said, you know what? I have a patient that we can do a zest cleaning. We can do a heat mask with expression. I'll let you expression lens. We'll do IPL. I'll let you fire the IPL a couple of times, see what you think, and then we'll go from there. So I had her in, set this up, did that. She shadowed me through the day. And then at the end, I said, what's your time frame? She told me. And at the end, I was like, hey, I'll take you out to lunch. Because I want to gauge her, feel her out, see what she's looking for. And, she said, hey, I hate to be a flake, but my mom wants to, do X, Y, or Z, and she has plans for me, so I might not be able to do lunch. And again, she was awesome, had a good rapport. But right there, it's an opportunity that you're giving someone, right? When I think about it, I really set this up. Like, this is a great opportunity. You like dry eye. I'm looking to hire you. You want to be in West Michigan. And not to have the foresight to be like, I'm going to maximize this. I'm going to tell X, Y, or Z no because this is an opportunity. So is it something that's a deal breaker and it's not going to work out? No, it's not. But it's my first impression, right? I try to have understanding. I try to remember where I was when I was in school. And you know what? I think I would have owned it. I would have done everything I can to make that doctor want to hire me. Even if I didn't want the opportunity, I want them to want me to work for them. I want them to offer me something, right? I want to sell myself to the maximum level. And, then I think, well, am I being too needy? Am I not? It's just an associate position. Is this there? And again, you guys have hired people. You're vetting people. Tell me your experiences. Is this normal? Is this what you see? I'll tell you right now, it didn't rub me the right way in the sense of I absolutely have to hire this person. Still looking, still keep them in mind. But this happens to us too, right? When we're interacting with patients, when we're interacting with a business opportunity, are we doing everything to put our best foot forward? Are we doing everything to make them want to work with us? Just a question that came into my head based on the situation I went through. And I don't know, I'm curious what you guys thought, how you would have handled it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But again, let's start the conversation. This is a perfect example of how iron sharpens iron. I know what I think, what I feel. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you disagree. Leave it in the comments below. But this is how we all get better. I'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We're to the closing thought of the episode. And today I will leave you with this thought. When you are running your business, when you are trying to make a decision, one of the biggest piece of advice that I was given or I gathered over the past year was you can't have pride. Detachment is the answer, right? When you're in trouble, when you're struggling, detach from the situation. Take yourself away and look at it from the outside. When we talk to each other about your guys' practices, it's incredibly easy for me to give you guidance, to tell you exactly what I was going to do, what I would do in that situation. When I'm in my own office and I'm going to do X, Y, or Z, I'm going to have a meeting, and then the sky starts leaking, the roof starts leaking, I'm now converting my dry eye treatment room back to an exam room in the middle of a schedule, getting my entire staff to be a pit crew and move things back and forth, and we're doing that. I'm not thinking about my marketing meeting, right? That's what happens when you're running a practice. You have it planned out. You're disciplined. You've set aside this time, and then an emergency happens. Something that you cannot put off comes up, right? How can you detach, and what advice would you give? Perfect example. You keep having this happen. You need to remove yourself from the office. You need to devote that time, go somewhere else. Or you need to tell your staff, I don't care what happens, I am not here. Right? Easy to do. But if you're the doctor in that situation, yeah, it's really easy to say, but Mrs. Jenkins has her, eyeball falling out of her head. I got to help her. Or, my little office is going to start on fire if I don't do something now. I got to help it out, right? But detach, pull yourself away, and don't live in the extremes. Know what you would do in 90% of the situations. There's always going to be an exception to every rule, but detach, make the decision, make it happen. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.